Hi guys, welcome to quarantine week 2. I wanted to go over last week's assignments as well as this week's, so this video will be a little bit long. So first of all, for this week's assignments, you are to continue reading Julius Caesar and to work on your study guide packets. You're going to focus on Act 2, and Act 2 is days 5 and 6 in your study guides. So day 5 and 6. There are also additional questions that I want you to answer and a short writing assignment that I've posted under the quarantine assignments. I might post some discussion questions for your small groups this week as well, so keep an eye out on that. Just like last week, I will post videos on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So please check in on those dates. As far as last week's assignments go, you will start seeing grades in the grade book within the next day or two. And I wanted to, again, take the time to go over the answers from last week. So you were responsible for reading Act 1 and focusing on character traits and analysis. And I apologize. I've got a 2-year-old running around in the house, and she is a little jacked up on sugar. So if you hear some screaming, she's fine. She's just a little wild right now. So first let's go over the character analysis, because again, Julius Caesar is all about the characters involved. This is a real historical event. These characters lived and breathed. And Shakespeare does take some liberties in their character traits to make this play a little bit more dramatic. So some of their traits are based on history, and some of them are kind of embellished or made bigger for dramatic effect. So the first character that we needed to analyze was Caesar. And in my list, I told you guys to find at least 3 character traits. For mine, I did a little bit more. So Caesar is driven by pride. Obviously, mine is backwards, so I'm just going to read them to you. So Caesar has a great big ego. He's all that in a bag of chips, and he knows it. He has a lot of pride, but he's also charismatic, and he inspires loyalty in his followers. He's a successful military leader, and he is well loved by the people. He cares about the people that he's leading, or at least he seems to. He knows what the people want, and he promises to give it to them. So because of that, he inspires loyalty. The next character that we were analyzing is Brutus. Brutus is a complicated character. He is Julius Caesar's best friend. But Brutus cares about honor. He actually says in the play that he cares more about honor than death. So he's super honorable, but he's also humble, he's smart, and he's well liked by the people, because the people know that he cares about Rome more than anything else in the world. He has the people and Rome's best interests at heart, and he doesn't like the road that Caesar is leading them down. He's worried that Caesar is going to become a king, and that's something that the people of Rome don't want. The next character that we were analyzing is Antony. Antony is younger than the other conspirators in this plot. He's another one of Julius Caesar's best friends. So if Brutus is his right-hand man, Antony would be his left. He's charismatic, he's athletic, he's young, he's popular, but he also has a lot of leadership experience, and he's a great orator. That will come back as we view this play. He inspires a lot of confidence when he speaks, and he's very believable and honest and down to earth. Cassius is our main conspirator in this plot. So he's conniving, he's a schemer, and he hates Julius Caesar. But he doesn't hate Julius Caesar because of what he's doing to Rome. He hates him for personal reasons. He uses logic, but to his own benefit. He's calculating, he's jealous, and he's kind of ruthless in his goals. He's just kind of a nasty dude. Octavius is on our list, but he has not been introduced in Act 1 yet. So you did not need to do any character traits for him. And finally, we have Casca. Now, Casca is kind of an example of the elite Roman aristocracy. He is rich, and he lets everybody around him know it. He's poised. He's an elitist, which means he looks down on people that are below him. He hates the lower class. In Act 1, he talks about how the lower class's breath stinks and how it almost knocked him out and how he didn't want to stay around them any longer than he had to because the smell was just atrocious. However, he's also superstitious. He's kind of knocked back down to size when all of the crazy events of that night start happening, when he sees the lion prowling the Capitol, the fire raining from the sky, all of that stuff. So he's very superstitious, and he takes these portents seriously. So I told you guys to skip ahead to days 3 and 4 for Act 1, and you had some questions to answer. So for Act 1, the first question that you had to answer was, how do the commoners react to Julius Caesar's return to Rome? They are excited. They are celebrating. They are out in the streets. They have closed down their shops. Not only are they excited for Julius Caesar's return, but it's also the Feast of Lupercal. And that is our next question. The Feast of Lupercal is a fertility festival honoring Pan. It was bloody, violent, and sexual. Animal sacrifices were held to ward off evil spirits. They would also dress up the statues in Rome to ward off evil spirits. So that's why when Flavulus and Marcus, or Marcellus, were talking about derobing the statues, it was seen as something bad because, you know, they're dissing Caesar, but they're also dissing the festival. And that's why they were arrested. So why do Flavius and Marcellus resent Caesar? He killed Pompey's sons. And they think that he has a big ego. So Pompey, Caesar, and, the other guy that I can never remember his name because he died. It starts with a C. Crassus. So Julius Caesar, Pompey, and Crassus, they formed the first triumvirate. It was basically a creative position to ensure that the power in Rome wouldn't fall to one person. Well, Crassus dies, so then there's this power struggle between Caesar and Pompey. Pompey was well liked by the people. He wasn't a bad guy. But then Pompey dies, and Julius Caesar kills his sons. And he comes back into the streets of Rome, and the people are excited about this. So Marcellus and Flavius are like, dude, don't you remember Pompey? You guys were happy to see him, and now all of a sudden you're excited because Pompey's sons have been killed? He was an alright guy. So why are you celebrating? You should be mourning their deaths. You should be ashamed of yourselves. So they order the commoners to go home, fall on their knees, and pray to the gods for forgiveness, that they should weep in the Tiber for Pompey and his sons. For your exit slip on this day, you were supposed to paraphrase either, "Oh, you hard hearts, you cruel men of Rome, knew you not Pompey," or "These growing feathers plucked from Caesar's wings will make him fly an ordinary pitch." So the first phrase is saying, "You cruel men of Rome, have you forgotten about Pompey? Did you just forget about him?" You know, this is basically, Julius Caesar could be seen as an invading person that's, you know, somebody that has basically taken over the state. And this was viewed by the senators as a bad thing, but the people were happy about it because they knew that Julius Caesar knew what their interests were and promised to take care of them. The second phrase says, "If we take away Caesar's support, he will be forced to come back down to earth." So they think that his ego is too big for his own good, and by taking away his supporters, either the people or the senators who support him, it'll force him to kind of, you know, check himself before he wrecks himself and get a little more grounded. For Act 1, Scene 2, you had to answer questions as well as go over the ethos, logos, pathos. Now, I'm not going to do the second activity today because I'm trying to keep this video as brief as possible because I got 2 kids running around. So I will try and cover that on Wednesday. It'll also give you guys a little bit more time to turn it in. So let's just go over the questions for now. Act 1, Scene 2, the main focus of this is on Cassius' speech to Brutus. And you also have some terms to define, so internal conflict and external conflict. Internal conflict is a character's internal struggle with themselves. External conflict is a conflict with a character and an external circumstance. It could be a character, it could be God, it could be the weather, anything external to the character that they are in conflict with is external conflict. So the first question we have is, what did Cassius want Brutus to see? Cassius wants Brutus to see him as Cassius sees him. Cassius tries to persuade Brutus that Brutus should rule Rome. Brutus is a really humble guy. He's a good, honest, honorable guy, but he's humble about it. He doesn't have a big ego. And Cassius says that he wants him to see what he sees, that, you know, that he's a good guy, that he would be a good leader for the people of Rome. The people love him. He has Rome's best interests at heart, and he wishes that Brutus could see that. What happens between Cassius and Caesar at the Tiber River? So this is the start of Cassius' speech to Brutus. He brings up 2 specific events to appeal to the emotional sense of Brutus. And at the Tiber River, Cassius and Caesar raced each other, but Caesar got tired and he started drowning. And Cassius had to go back and pull Caesar out of the river, carry him on his shoulders up out of the river. Cassius mentions that this is a metaphorical scene for Caesar because it's just like the leader of Rome being pulled out of the river. But Cassius tries to show Brutus that Caesar is just a man, that he is, he can be taken down just like any other man. He's not a god. What do we learn about Brutus? We learn that he is an honorable man. He's concerned about Rome, and he's worried about Caesar's ambition. He's humble about himself and his ambitions. We also learn that Brutus is one of Caesar's best friends, and even though he likes Caesar, he doesn't think that he's the best person for Rome. For your exit slip, you had to say, what does Cassius plan to do to Caesar, and why does Brutus need to be part of the plan? So Cassius wants to take him down, either by dethroning him or killing him. Brutus is loved by the people, and Caesar, excuse me. Okay, sorry for that interruption. Had to take care of some business. Going back to your exit slip question. So Cassius plans to take him down either by dethroning him or something else. He's not quite sure what. He needs Brutus because Brutus is well loved by both the people and Caesar. So he can lead Caesar aside without the people revolting, because the people like Caesar, so they're not going to be too happy about Caesar being dethroned or anything bad happening to Caesar unless Brutus is involved, because Brutus is well liked by the people too, and they know that Brutus has Rome's best interests at heart. So if Brutus does it, then something else was going on that they didn't know about, and they know, oh, well, Brutus must have known something we didn't, because he really cares about Rome, and he wouldn't bring down his best friend Caesar unless there really was a problem. Okay, I don't quite remember where I left off. I think I finished your exit slip review, but on Wednesday I will go over the speech review that I posted last week. I will also post a summary of Act 2, so be sure you read it by then. This week you are responsible again for doing days 5 and 6, which is the Act 2 study questions. I've also posted some additional questions online and a short writing activity. We're again focusing on character analysis because what these characters do, say, and what everyone thinks about them are central to the play. If you have any questions, please reach out to me. I'm checking email till about 10 o'clock at night. I check Edmodo till usually about 7 o'clock at night. If you need any kind of clarification, questions, need some help, I am here for you. Okay? I hope to see you guys soon. I'm hoping we will be back in class on Monday. But until then, I will post on Wednesday. Thanks.